Hi, I'm Michael Ball, better known as Ballsy in the sports world, and thanks for checking out another episode of the CanWest Top 50 coming to you from the Regina Sports Performance Center. Coming up on this week's show, we've got an all-star quarterback, an up-and-coming quarterback, and two Vanier Cup champs amongst our group of players. But before we reveal that, let's go back to last week and see how we got here. Okay, and the last guy I want to talk about is Trey Kellog, a guy that he's got all the talent. He just got to consistently put it together, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's going to be, that's always kind of been his Achilles heel, is just kind of putting that consistency together, putting everything together. Has all the packages, all the tools, all the traits, super bright kid, super intelligent, one of our best receivers that we've had here. Just has to put it all together. So I think this year, hopefully our quarterback situation, we're still pretty young there, but as your quarterback situation kind of filters itself out there, we'll have somebody who can reliably get him the ball and give him a chance to showcase all that he, his talent has and all his athletic ability has.
That's a good point. Lastly, Shamari, if you got a great receiver, if you're trying to work out your quarterback situation, that doesn't help the receiver out sometimes, right? Like sometimes you can maybe unfairly criticize a guy when, it's not his fault.
Yeah, and and I don't want to take away anything. Football is one of those ultimate team sports. It comes down to the O-line, comes down to the running back to help alleviate things for the receiver. It comes down to the quarterback, comes down to receiver. So there's a lot of moving parts to it. But obviously the quarterback's one of the most important positions. So having a guy that reliably can get you the ball, that has that chemistry, and having an O-lineman that can protect for you, having a back that can get you 4 or 5 yards is just going to make the life for the receiver that much easier. So if we can put all those little pieces together, which I think we can this year, Trey should have a big year for us.
Here with big defensive lineman Jamin Pelley. Hey, what's better, quarterback sack or rushing for a touchdown? Because you did that once in your career.
The sacks are definitely better. The sacks are way better.
Yeah. Do you know who Refrigerator Perry is when I say that?
I do. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I got that mentioned to me a couple times this year.
And actually closer to you would be Akeem Hicks, who used to play for the Rams at the USPORTS level with the Bears. He got to rush the football for a touchdown too.
Yeah, he did actually. Yeah, I do know that. There's a few big guys that have got the experience that I've been lucky to receive. So yeah,
So you're a big dude. How big are you?
I would say I'm 6'5.5". I get 6'6", like somewhere around 6'5", 6'6". Right now I'm weighing around 355, I believe.
Wow, you've always been the biggest guy, to the point where in grade 12 you never played grade 12 football. You played with the Colts, right?
Correct. Yeah, I forgoed my high school career to play at the junior level just by getting scouted from them. We've had a couple guest coaches at high school with them, so yeah, I seen the opportunity. They told me, the chance of me playing were very little. And then I kind of took that the best way I could. And I joined them and started every game after, I believe, the first game. So, yeah, took that chance and I ran with it. So,
were you happy you did that, or did you miss the high school experience?
I'm definitely, it's probably like 95.5. I'm 95 towards, it was a good thing for me. I just grew up, it excelled my playing abilities like rapidly, but I did miss out on growing relationships with guys around my own age, that were still in high school dealing with the same things with me. I kind of got thrown into this lion's den with a whole bunch of 22, 21-year-olds, and it made me grow up, because these guys were coming off of 8-hour work days where I'm just coming off my 8-hour school day, and it was two very different ways of life. Mm-hmm. But I'm grateful for it for sure.
How's your health? Like, did that be, like, you were a young guy going against men, you weren't a man yet. How has that affected your body over the long haul, into your Dino days?
Knock on wood, I haven't had actually any serious injury. besides here and there, little ones, some more medium in size. But you know, I didn't miss too many games with the Colts. I think it might have been 1 or 2. And then when I moved to Kelowna to play for the BCFC, I didn't even miss a game there. And then of course, championship season, I missed 1 game, and that was that UBC game at home. The coaches, it wasn't really an injury. It was just more of like a, you know,
maintenance thing.
Yeah, pretty much. I could say that. Yeah.
So you go from the Colts, you go to Okanagan. How much did playing junior football help you transition to U Sports football?
It helped a lot. I kind of got the better half of it because I was able to not waste any years of eligibility, redshirting, stuff like that. So it was definitely a better way, I would say, to do it, especially for other kids. I tell them, like, look, junior is a great thing to do. You know, it develops you and it gets you into position to actually excel at the U Sports level. There's a few guys besides myself on our team that have come up from junior. We just signed a few this year. So I mean, junior is a good thing to do. And I know a lot of people that are strictly U Sports, they look down on junior a little bit, which, I mean, like, if I can say that a junior team could go up against a U Sports team, and, you know, whatever would happen would happen. And some people look at me crazy, but it's the truth. You know what I mean?
So, Jamin Pelley, we talk about time management and being a student athlete, but throw in fatherhood too for you. You're a dad. So what's that like for you to be a dad plus a student athlete? That's a lot of layers there, man.
Yeah, no kidding. It's tough, you know, like dealing with the whole stress of school, the whole stress of football when football life is around. That gets to be a lot on people. You know, but me, I work a full-time job while taking care of 2 daughters. And of course, I have my lovely wife to thank for a lot of the help that she goes through. But, you know, it is very, very stressful for me and for her. You know, like a lot of athletes that are fathers will talk about how stressful it is for them. But for me personally, I've seen the stress firsthand on the spouse or the significant other that's taking care of the kids the majority of the time. And you know, it's a lot for the family, but you know, it is a great feeling. And that was one of the greatest things that I sacrificed for that championship season. It was tough to go on that plane to Montreal. The plane to Montreal, but the game in Laval. It was tough getting on that plane because I knew that the Tuesday that we were there, I'd be actually missing my daughter's 2nd birthday, and that was tough. But it honestly, like, I was thankful, and you know, when I got home, it was a really good celebration of a birthday and a championship. So you know, it was good in the long run. But yeah, times do get tough while having kids and being a parent in U Sports, in school, and working.
Crazy.
But
that's great. But
you know, it's going all right. You know, scheduling is probably the hardest part of it, and just following that. But you know, it's not too bad.
Okay, so give me one. Jamin Pelley, one tip as a father. What kind of fatherly advice? I'm a father, but I'm just asking you in general. Give me your Jamin Pelley fatherly advice. What's one tip as a dad you
if you have daughters, front to back.
I have a daughter, and I totally get what you're saying. If not, people will catch on. I love that. How about as a husband? Give me one good piece of advice as a husband.
Communication. There you go. Just like the defense, communication.
Okay, Jamin, what's your personal goal for the 2021 season? What do you want to do? This is my second last question.
For the 2021 season, the most key thing that I want to do is prepare myself for the draft. But besides that, team-wise, I think another championship isn't too far out of the way.
Okay. You seem like you're a grinder. You talk about everything you're doing, father, husband, worker. But are you a 9-to-5 guy, or do you want to play professional football and provide for your family that way?
Oh yeah, I wanna do the second option as much as I can for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely want to pursue it.
Early on, you're one of those kind of I don't say camp bodies, but you were with the Calgary Stampeders in camp, and he told me you were such an imposing guy as a young guy. When they brought new guys up from the States, they worked them out against you. That's what kind of specimen you were. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so that was when I I would have been 17 or 18 at the time. And that was my first year of Colt, so I was in high school. And I would practice. I was on their unsolicited practice roster, I guess, the CJFL practice roster. So I'd have to skip morning classes to go practice through the morning with the Stamps. And like principals, they're obviously okay with it. Everyone, it was set up with my parents that it was all right, And yeah, so that's what I did. And I did really well, kept up decently. And then they would make me go against any O-line that they signed as a free agent from NFL, Arena League, overseas. Anyone they would bring in, we would do 10 one-on-one O-line, D-line drills, and it would be like fire. And yeah, so I would go against them, and you know what? The first time I ever did it, I had to run in and get my pads because we didn't bring them out, and we usually just practiced in shells, and no one brought out their shoulder pads. And then they told me to go get mine. And then I seen another O-lineman that I didn't know, he was a new guy, like first guy in or whatever. And he was getting his. So I was like, I don't know what this is. So then whatever. So I came back and they're like, you're going to do 10 one-on-one drills. And so I was like, okay. And I think I won about 7 of them. And I'm not going to.
That's awesome. But here's the thing. Did those professional football players know they got their ass tanned by a high school kid?
Yeah, so that's the thing. All those players that like I would be with normally that were already on the team and signed, they knew I was in high school, and like they would get me to try and talk to their universities of their, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, if I went up against a guy and I did my part as best as I could, they wouldn't let them sleep without hearing it. Yeah. Unfortunately for the first guy I went against, he got cut the next day, I believe.
Yeah, well, that's football, man. I hope for your sake and for our sake, me being a CFL fan, we see Jamin Pelley one day in the Canadian Football League. Thanks for this, my friend. Appreciate it. Thanks for fitting me into your busy schedule, okay?
All right, no worries. Have a good one. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, here with University of Alberta Golden Bears quarterback Brad Launhardt, all-star quarterback. How does that sound? It seems like it was a decade ago, but it was only 2019 last time you were on the field. How do you feel about that honor?
Yeah, it's a pretty big honor. It does seem forever, but it was good to. I think when those awards are given out, it's kind of acknowledgement to the whole team as well, especially at the quarterback position, because I'm a byproduct of the system and all the other players that are around me. So when an award like that gets given, hopefully the other guys around the team feel that it's an award that they earned as well, because I wouldn't be able to do my job without them doing their job as well. So
spoken like a true quarterback and a true leader. How much did now you came to the Golden Bears from the Edmonton Huskies. You had Ricky Walters there, who's also your OC here. How much did that help you in terms of picking up the offense, being on the same page with the guy calling the plays? Because that's so important in football.
Yeah, it was huge to have him come up to U of A. I'd been in his system for, 6 years or something like that, bouncing back and forth. So I'm understand the offense really well. I think we've seen enough and played enough together that I kind of know what to expect when he's going to call plays. I know where he wants the ball to go. I know what he kind of wants to see. And then it kind of helped me having experience with it, because I was able to help some of the guys on the field and kind of be a director out there with the guys that were actually on the field. So
that's what Coach Morse and Coach Walters told me. You act like another coach on the field. Is that how you see yourself?
A little bit. I guess I'm probably old enough to coach some of the guys on the team, but I kind of a pride of my game, I think, is just having the understanding of the offense and defenses and trying to put our team in the best spot to be successful.
What is your best attribute as a quarterback? We touched on leadership, maybe that's it, but physically, what do you think your best attribute is as a quarterback?
Well, I would say like my understanding, but if we're talking physically, I think I'm just well-rounded. I think I'm a good enough athlete to get away and surprise defenses. I think I took off a few times last season, and that kind of surprised some teams. And then, like just having an arm that I can make the throws that I need to make. And that kind of goes with the being a smart and understanding offenses, because I'm not forcing throws that I can't make or that aren't there, and just taking the right decisions.
So we'll talk about stuff away from the football field because you've been busy during this pandemic, but how have you used the time football-wise to get better, Brad Launhardt, on an all-star campaign?
Yeah, I think we did a good job as a team over the summer. We were able to kind of get together for socially distant runs, and we were able to do hills and throw a little bit. So we stayed in contact, and we're still able to work and get better. I think we had a good group of leaders that were kind of able to get together outside of the football world and do kind of our own practices or find ways to get better that way. And then just being able to get in the weight room when we can, when things allow us to. Our staff has done a good job. If there's gyms are closed, we have home workouts we can get done. So just trying to stay on top of that, be physically ready, as well as trying to get some football work in when we can. What's
a home workout look like for Brad Launhardt? I've talked to guys that have resorted to squatting the water softener salt you take to the basement. What have you done?
I've thought about that. Honestly, for me, it's a lot of like high intensity body weight workouts. I think it's been nice because you've been able to be creative. I grab like pop can cases, and that's kind of like what you use for bent over rows, or finding weird objects around the house to bench press, those kind of things. But just a lot of trying to pick up the tempo, get the heart rate up. A little bit of body weight stuff is kind of where the focus is.
So with those kind of workouts, have you thought about, hey, maybe I could be a mover, I could move furniture and stuff?
Yeah, definitely. Especially my dad around the house likes to move a lot, so I've helped him a lot with that. So whenever I'm doing yard work around the house, I deem that as a little bit of a workout too, more functional lifting skills, I guess.
So I see over your right shoulder, there's looks like some sort of educational plaque or something. Is that yours?
Yeah, that's both my degrees. So I graduated with a bachelor's in education and a bachelor's in kinesiology. So you're one of those guys that's right on the verge, Brad, of deciding whether he wants to move on with life or play football. Tell the folks, because in the off season here, you've been a substitute teacher. What grade level? What are you hoping to move into in terms of teaching? Yeah, so I've been a substitute teacher. My focus has been secondary, so junior highs and high schools. I kind of like that age range of kids. They're fun to interact with. They kind of get your jokes. You can joke around with them. But yeah, so it's an interesting stage, because it's at what point do you start your career and get moving on with life, or do you want to squeeze that last little bit of football out that, it's going to be my last chance probably to play football. So just getting any chance I can to play is kind of the goal, and trying to balance that with the demands of getting older in life kind of sneaking up on me.
So you're a quarterback, you got a thick playbook, plus you got to juggle school to get 2 degrees. How much does that help you become a teacher? Not only a leader in the classroom, dealing with different personalities, and prepping for school, because that's a big part of a teacher's job.
Yeah, I think football is awesome because, like you said, it gets you the ability to interact with different people. But definitely, like the workload of school and football, definitely you just learn to plan ahead, plan out your schedule, get things done when you can, and staying on top of things. So that was the biggest thing that being a part of a football team and having that big schedule kind of taught me.
You said kids get your jokes better. Are you a jokester in the locker room, or do you have a dry sense of humor?
Probably more dry and a little bit more sarcastic. Sometimes some of the younger guys don't pick up on it a little bit, but once they get to know, they kind of think they start to understand it a little bit. Yeah.
Do you trash talk on the field? Are you a trash talker?
No, not really. Kind of keep to myself. Yeah, I worry about our game.
Do you get, as a quarterback though, you got to be a leader, okay? Like sometimes you got to get vocal. Are you pretty vocal in the huddle, telling guys what they got to do? Like, are you pretty demonstrative that way?
I think for me, it's just kind of a feel of when to be that way. I think there definitely needs to be that point I think sometimes as a quarterback, you kind of got to be the level head. And then when you notice that the team is too flat or too low, that's when you kind of got to bring out that personality and get them going that way.
You know, you made a good point, Brad. You said, like, this will be the last year, maybe, hopefully we get on the field in 2021. This will be the last year you play football. So you kind of one of those things where you still want to be youthful for one more year, don't you? Like, you just don't want to, because you got a whole life to work.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's kind of been the fun part, is like training and trying to stay in shape that way. And I'm going to miss interacting with the teammates on the team. So I think this year's trying to just get the most out of that, get the most out of being with the guys, having fun. Because that part, you know, you don't get a chance to do later in life, right? You have coaching staffs, but it's not the same to have that many guys and interact in the same way. So just trying to squeeze those last little bits of football that you can out of it and enjoy it best I can.
You seem like a very level-headed guy that I'd love to, you know, I'd like to have my kid in your classroom. So that's good, just on this preliminary Zoom call. But would you like to get into coaching down the line? Like, would that be something like the coach? Because you're in that age group where, you know, junior high school, you know, high school football, and maybe building the next Brad Launhardt for football down the line.
Yeah, I think that's kind of been a goal since I was even young and in high school. That's kind of why I went into education, was because it's kind of a big overlap. So I've kind of put off the coaching football part of it to play. So I've done a little bit of coaching basketball. I've started to help out at high schools, run camps. We've done a good job at U of A to run camps. So I've gotten a little bit of taste that way, and then just trying to find a school to work with and get into that coaching piece, like you said.
Okay, last question for you, Brad. You're going to be in high school, junior high, with kids that are very, they're in their developmental stages. One thing we talk about for athletes is mental health. How, you know, that's going to be an important part of what you do going forward. But how about you? How about your teammates? How you guys dealt mentally with this? I know you've been busy, but it's been frustrating for a lot of guys and weighed heavily in their mental health. You know, can they get enough tape to get drafted? Should they defer their drafts? Fifth-year guys, we didn't know if they get to play until that whole reversal of fortune looked like guys would age out. How's it been for you and for your teammates here in this offseason?
I think overall, I think as a team, we've done a good job. We've had kind of weekly meetings. We've had some of those parts of those meetings haven't been football focused, but just getting to know each other, interacting with each other. I think that's kind of been a blessing. When we have been able to get together and work out, like that, our culture at our team has always been positive that way. So it's good to see people in the weight room. It's been tough when you're on your own, but yeah, having those Zoom calls online and finding ways to just get to talk to people and worry about stuff other than football has been awesome. So.
Well, one of my favorite things about doing this, I've said it on a couple of occasions, is meeting guys face to face, even though it's on Zoom. Like, you get to put a face to the number, and hopefully I get to watch number 16 on the field coming up here in the fall. Here with Bisons Corner, Arjay, Shelley. How are you, buddy?
I'm not doing too bad. How about you?
Good, man. Hey, so you're in the top 25 of our top 50 best CanWest players, top 50 CanWest players, and really happy to have you on the show. Just your initial impression of being a top 25 player is chosen by media, some players, and coaches anonymously.
It's really exciting. Super glad to hear that. I'm happy to be here. Yeah, it's awesome.
You're 6'4", 195 pounds. Is that correct? That's what I saw on the website. Are you about that weight right now?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so when I talked to Coach Dobie, they weren't sure about putting you at corner because of your high center of gravity, because you were pretty tall. Did you find any issues being a tall corner? I know they like them down south. Field's a lot smaller, a lot more compact. If you're tall, you better be athletic here in Canada.
It definitely comes with some difficulties, but it also has its advantages for sure. So
yeah, so your field corner, that's boundaries to the, obviously for people that don't know, to the short side of the field. You're to the wide side of the field. Does that allow you to freelance a little more, Arjay?
Yeah, a little bit. There's a lot of space out there for me, and I can kind of play the ball a little bit better. Yeah, it's just more space for me to cover. So
it feels like, obviously we know in terms of the actual time, it's been a long time, but to me as a broadcaster, it feels like 5 years since we played. The last time you were on the field though, man, it was an all-star campaign, 3 interceptions, including a pick 6. If you can remember the 2019 season for me, just your thoughts on it from your perspective.
It was a pretty good season. It kind of ended, unfortunately, for us as a team. Yeah, I got 3 interceptions, 1 for a touchdown. Probably should have had some more interceptions. I dropped a couple, but yeah, it was a good season for me for sure, I think.
So let's talk positively here, Arjay. What is your best quality, do you think? You can't teach size, so you've already got that. But besides that, what's your best quality as a defensive back?
My ability to cover ground, like my speed and my height, my reach. I can cover a lot of ground, sideline to sideline. So, yeah.
Yeah. Are you a trash talker on the field?
I'm not a big trash talker. No, I let them talk. It's okay. I do what I gotta do.
Yeah. Are you a student of the game? Do you like to dive in, look at video, study the game plan a lot, or do you just rely on your natural instincts?
For sure, I like to study, for sure. It's a bit of both, obviously, but yeah, you gotta watch film.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Would you consider yourself a grinder and a hard worker?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Who's as hard as, who on your team works as hard as Arjay Shelley?
Oh, in Winnipeg.
Yeah. Who would work as hard as you on the Bisons? Like, who do you have a lot of respect for as a teammate? First guy that comes to mind.
Okay, I'm gonna say Colby Kyluk. He's one of the receivers on the Bisons.
Yeah.
He's in the gym all the time, working out, doing all his training, taking all the reps for receiver and all that. So we're always going at it. So
weird for you, man, because after the 2019 school year, you go home to Port Moody, where we're talking right now as we tape this thing. You haven't been back in Winnipeg, I assume, since, or very much. So how have the workouts been for you at home, away from teammates and stuff like that? How do you stay connected?
I still do my same training program, basically, that our strength coach gives us, but I'm just doing it on my own at a gym. So right when the pandemic started, at first, it was pretty tough. Like, I would only run. There was no gyms, no nothing. I didn't have any weights at home. But then, I got into this facility, which has been like really great. And yeah. How have you been dealing with this mentally? Mental health's a big deal in our society now, especially with athletes who train hard and work hard and are students, but everybody wants to play the game. How have you been dealing with this mentally? It's kind of tough, for sure. Like, I've been playing since I was like 6 years old, like straight every year. This is like one of the only years I haven't played football. But yeah, I just gym. I go like play ball in the park with my friends and stuff, and I just find ways to just like have fun too. So
like being a kid again at 6 years old, right? Hey, I'm noticing a couple of things over your right shoulder's Utah Jazz jersey.
Yes, sir.
Number 32. Whose jersey is that?
That's Karl Malone.
Okay. Oh yeah, the mailman. Is he? Do you love the mail? You're a little young to know who the mailman is. Did you watch some old Jazz clips? Are you a Jazz fan?
A little bit, yeah. This is my grandma actually gave this to me. This is like her favorite player.
Oh, that's awesome.
He won MVP when I was born, the same year I was born. So.
Yeah. What year was that again?
That's 98.
98. Yeah, absolutely. And then just behind you's Leonard Fournette's looks like Jags jersey.
Yeah.
Won the Super Bowl with Tampa. Is he one of your favorite players?
He's definitely one of my favorite players. Yeah, I remember just watching him at LSU. He's just like running through people like a grown man. It was awesome.
That's awesome. Okay, so what's better, a pick six or a fumble recovery for a touchdown?
Either or, it doesn't matter. It's 6 is 6, man.
Like taking the ball away. Aren't you now? Help me out here. Aren't you number 27 too?
Yeah.
Is that why you're number 27?
No, it's not. The 27 was actually just given to me when I first got there, and it kind of just stuck.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love it. What do you like to do away from the football field? Did you pick up any new hobbies during this pandemic, or what is a hobby or something you like to do?
I'm always working on my car. I like to skateboard, snowboard. I grew up on the West Coast, so I like to mountain bike and snowboard and stuff like that.
Hey, a lot of guys from BC come to Winnipeg because of Brian Dobie's recruiting. How have you found? What kind of transition was that, being a West Coast guy coming to the flatlands of Winnipeg, Manitoba for you?
It wasn't too bad. I was pretty shocked the first winter, but once I got used to that, it wasn't too bad. Like, I really like Winnipeg. Everybody is so nice out there. Facilities are amazing. School is good. So,
okay.
Yeah, can't.
What are you taking in school?
I'm just in a general arts degree right now. I'm trying to like major in geography.
Okay. What's your plans after football, whenever that is?
I'm not 100% sure right now. I have like part-time jobs. I work for like a contractor, so I probably continue with that for a little bit and then try and find a career, and that will like kind of relate to my degree. And
do you like working with your hands? Are you a handyman? Are you becoming a handyman?
Yeah, for sure. I like to work with my hands and do something like kind of physical. I don't like to like sit down at a desk too much for too long. So
hey, I see you got a tattoo there on your left upper arm. Is there any significance behind that tattoo? Can you show us a bit of it?
I have this boo right here.
Yeah. Okay.
My grandpa used to call me Boo when I was younger, so I just got it on my arm.
Okay.
It's not finished yet, my arm, but
yeah. And what's that?
I have a quote up here. It says, shall I read it out to you?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Love to. Okay. This is about getting to know you.
It says, for I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope in the future. Good, it's like, I don't know. I read that and it was kind of like, it's kind of like when you're younger and somebody tells you like, man, you're gonna have a bright future or whatever, you know, but it's like, I don't know, it's kind of like a more formal way of saying it, I think. Yeah, no, that's just how I perceive it. But yeah. Are you a spiritual guy, Arjay? Do you kind of lean on that or not so much? I'm a spiritual person, yeah. I'm not like super religious or anything like that, but for sure, like spirituality is like big for the mindset, and yeah. Yeah. Do you do a lot of meditation before the games, or goal setting, or go through a couple of plays that maybe you'll be doing in a game against an opponent? Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I call it like meditation or anything, but I'm just before the game, I'm a super silent person. Like, I won't really talk to anybody too much. I'll kind of just be like running through stuff through my head, just visualizing stuff, and yeah, just getting prepared like that. We mentioned a guy on your team. Obviously, respect your teammates. Is there somebody on the opposition team who you respect or love going against, either a quarterback or a receiver? There's lots of great athletes on this list and in this conference, probably the best conference in USPORTS football. Is there anybody in particular you like matching up with on a Friday night or a Saturday afternoon? Yeah. Well, Calgary is like the team to beat in the West Coast, so I always like going against them. It's a really good competition. Yeah. You don't mind lining up against the Nathaniel Durkins and the Philpott boys. Yeah. The Philpotts are really good players. Yeah. Hey, so when we get back on the field here in 2021, give me a personal goal for yourself. I know you have the team goals to win and be a champion, obviously, but in order to do that, you have to set some personal goals. Do you have a personal goal for yourself to build on that all-star season of 2019? Yeah, well, first off, I want to gain my weight up just a little bit, maybe extra 10, 15 pounds. I've been trying for so long. It's hard. I've been in the gym eating so much, but that for sure. Definitely work on my hands a bit, which I have been doing. Right. And I've been trying to get a little bit more fluid in my transitions and stuff. Just working on my hips. You know, I briefly mentioned my son. It's not about my son, but I want to tie it into you. Like he was a receiver. Now he's playing safety. And he said, I have a lot more respect for defensive backs than I ever did, because you got to do what a receiver's doing, only backwards. You need to use anticipation, and you don't know what they're doing. Like, it's all reactionary, right? Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I used to play receiver in high school too. I played like a little bit of DB, and that was the first time I ever played DB. And I got to Manitoba, and it was like, okay, I'm seriously playing cornerback now. But
hard-
yeah, it was
How
really
hard
good.
how hard was that for you to make that transition? Like, how long did it take you to catch on? Because it takes a while. It doesn't just come overnight.
Yeah. Like I redshirted a year. I sat out for my first year. Yeah, I was just learning the playbook and just getting my feet under me and all that. And then my first year I was doing okay, and then second, third year I was feeling a bit more confident. I feel like I have a lot more learning to do and like growing, but yeah.
Well, you're a fine young man. You're a great football player to watch. You're in the top 25 on our list. Congratulations, and looking forward to seeing you and all these other athletes on the field here in the fall. Thanks, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Here with the Rams quarterback, Josh Donnelly. So, Josh, I guess first off, what was your welcome to the CIS or USPORTS moment when you officially felt like, yeah, I'm the guy, the starting quarterback of the Rams?
I mean, week 1 against UBC, that was an exciting one, having to fly there, first of all, and then getting to play in their stadium with all their fans, and it was a gorgeous day out, and then being able to put up a good number against a pretty prominent team and a team that we have a lot of respect for. So that was probably a big one for me.
So when you're playing in a game like that, what's the, your first game, what's the biggest hurdle to overcome? Is it nerves?
Yeah, I think a little bit of nerves. And once you kind of just get that first drive out of the way, I think that first drive, that first throw, whatever it may be, getting that out of the way, kind of realizing like, hey, this isn't that big of a jump and I can compete at this level. And once you do that, I think it's kind of just back to playing football after that.
What was the biggest thing for you coming from high school and getting a chance to actually quarterback? Now, I know the year before you kind of were thrown into the mix there in Calgary at the end of that one playoff game. But what's it like, making that jump and talk about the biggest thing for you?
I think just speed of the game in general. You got guys that are, they were the best at their respective high school teams for every team, and that's every guy in the league. So speed of the game is for sure faster. And then whether that's physically, dealing with those guys who are more athletic, bigger, stronger, or mentally, just processing, all the different coverages and the different things the defenses can do. It's not just your basic high school coverages anymore. There's a lot more complex stuff that you got to kind of get used to. So I think once you kind of take that step and can figure it out both physically and mentally, I think you can kind of get rolling and be a good competitor in the league.
What's your best attribute?
I like to think that it's the mental side of the game for me. I think I do process information well and can, excel in that aspect of the game. And then it's the studying and the preparation for teams. I think I like to think that I'm, the most prepared guy on the field at all times. And that's kind of my goal going into every single week.
What was your goal going into this next year? I know it kind of got derailed. We'll get into that in a second, but what was your goal going into this season in terms of improving your play?
I think eliminating the rookie mistakes, if you want to call it, the mistakes that, that one, throw I shouldn't have made or the read I missed. That I think that, as a rookie, you kind of get, okay, that's fine, you made that mistake, but I like to hold myself to a higher standard, and I think that those mistakes, little things won't be acceptable, kind of going forward, and I want to improve on those, both mentally and physically, and kind of, set the standard for myself as the starting quarterback for the team.
So going into this year, you guys kind of lost a couple of receivers, but you have a couple of good weapons there off the top of my head. Riley, Boersma, Bennett, Stusik. Just talk about your receiving core and, the chemistry maybe and how that's kind of, I don't know if it's been a challenge during this pandemic, but how you've dealt with that.
Yeah, it's been tough to, keep in touch with those guys. I know Riley went home for a little while. He's not from Regina. So keeping in touch was a big thing, whether it's just texting or, having a couple quarterback receiver Zoom calls and such. But I think those guys, they're young players and will be touted as like a young receiving core, but they do have a lot of experience and they play above their age. So I have no doubt that those guys will be capable of doing some exciting things next year.
Now we know the pandemic is something and it's derailed your season, but giving, all things being equal, has it been good or bad for you? I guess what's been the good parts of the pandemic for you? maybe a better way to put it?
Yeah, obviously it's time to train and get better for next season. I know I spent a lot of time, making sure my shoulder was 100% healthy and making sure that overall my body was feeling good. And then even just to take some time away from football. I know talking to a lot of guys, this was the first, summer we ever had, or in the last, 10 or 12 years without, prepping for a season or leaving early so that we can start our high school season or our football or our university season or whatever it may be. So spending some time with family and friends and stepping away from football for a little while, I think was good, and even makes you appreciate the sport so much more.
Yeah, no, that's a good way to put it. One thing I remember last time you're on the football field that really struck me, and I watched you in high school, but maybe not as closely as I should have, your playmaking ability. There was one play, I forget what game, but you're scrambling. It was like Houdini. You threw it over your shoulder to, I think it was Semba. You just threw it over your back, blind pass, like on a basketball court. Has that always been a part of your game? Because I know the Ram coaches were pretty shocked, and I guess in practice you can't get hit, right? You're wearing the red jersey. Has that always been something you've prided yourself up on, in your game?
I think a little bit. I think I like to have fun with it. So whether it's in practice or after a training session or whatever it is, we like to throw the ball around a bit. And I don't want to say I practice throwing it over my head and to Simba and all that sort of stuff, but being able to do that sort of stuff, I think is a good part of my game and something I can keep growing with moving forward. And finding different ways to, make plays whenever I can.
Lastly, I asked you about your first game, but do you have a play other than that one that kind of sticks out to you that you kind of want to hang your hat on during the season, where it was like, yeah, I know that's a long time ago. We're almost 2 years removed from that, but was there a play that sticks out in your mind?
My first touchdown pass at UBC to Shinbine was a big one. That was just kind of finally got it out of the way, get that first one, and then kind of just go from there. I think that was a big moment for me.
Well, Josh, thanks for this, man. I look forward to, hopefully we're getting back on a football field so we can get some more highlights.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Let's start with your running back, Robinson Rodrigues, who seems to be a nice catalyst there in the backfield. Tell me through your eyes what you see from him.
Well, he's a great kid. I think, obviously you can take 10 coaches and you can line them up in a line, look at one player, and you'll get 10 different opinions. But in my mind, Robbie is he's a perfect Canadian back because he does everything well. All right. Now, the one thing he's probably not going to do is give you that, that 4-4 burst, okay, run away from everybody, but he's going to do everything else well. He blocks well. He catches the ball well. He's got great quick feet. He's got great toughness and physicality. I think he does everything well. He doesn't do a lot of special teams at University of Calgary because there are other players in that role, but I have no doubts that at the next level, he could be a great contributor on special teams, which is likely going to be the case as a Canadian role player. So
yeah, but a steady guy that, like you said, it's kind of a Swiss Army knife in your backfield, right?
Very much so. Very much so. He does, he excels at all aspects of the game and has very few weaknesses, okay, as a running back. However, I mean, if you're looking for that sort of, as I said, 4-4, 4-3 guy, he's not that, but, he's everything else.
Hey, thanks for checking out another installment of the CanWest Top 50. I'm your host, Ballsy. Thanks to my assistants, Eric Cox and Dieter, and thanks to the Regina Sports Performance Center for letting us use their facilities. Remember, get on board next week as we pedal along in our journey to revealing the top player in the CanWest Conference. Oh, I got this in my hand.